Hey everyone, me again. I was just going to show a quick little how-to of something that I discovered that was posted on another message board. But basically, as you can see, I'm sitting here working on an Earthshaker pinball. Actually, I have a couple of them here that I picked up. But here's an Earthshaker pinball that's pretty rough, and it was really dirty, so I'm restoring it all the way. And the playfield's actually pretty good. There's a few bad spots, as you can see. There's a little bit of wear here, and there's some ball wear here, swirls and stuff, but other than that, it looks pretty good. And I've stripped most of the stuff off of it, and I'm just cleaning it up. But as you can see, I have pulled the mylar off, and the mylar I got off in one piece, so I used the freeze method, and basically it came off just perfectly. So I got it all in one, and as you can see, let me show you real quick. That's about the only stuff, and it was just one of the inserts, and there's a little bit more off another insert that came up. You can get the decals for this game, so I'm not worried, but the playfield itself was undamaged, so it's looking pretty good. Now, what I wanted to show you is something that I saw on a board. I was having a real hard time getting the mylar off down here. This took me hours and hours. I mean, it was just so slow going. And I was using a product called Goo Gone. And Goo Gone works. It's basically naphtha, which is like lighter fluid, but it's got citrus oil in it, and so it's pretty. It won't hurt paint. And the solvent base is what kind of works with that adhesive. Now, the new way to do this, as I found, is, I know this doesn't make any sense, but your old all-purpose flour and isopropyl alcohol. Both of which you can get at Walmart for very cheap. And so let me show you what I've done so far. So basically, I've sprinkled some flour on the playfield, and you can see where the flour is sticking to where there is some of that adhesive, and it's not sticking down here to where there's not adhesive. And when you add the isopropyl alcohol, which isn't really even a solvent for this gummy mylar adhesive, I don't know why it works, but basically you rub the flour on it, and you just use your finger, and it comes right off. Now, I left this here. This is actually just a pile of the adhesive. When you put the flour on the playfield, that's what's left over. So I kind of left a pile of that for you to see, but as you can see, it takes the stuff off good. Now, I've shown a spot here where the inserts are the toughest part to get off because they're the hardest. That really, the lights harden that adhesive, but you can see where the flour is sticking, and you can see the line here of where the mylar was, see where the dirt is. But I've actually sprinkled some flour on this playfield to start. So what I'm going to do is I just have a cap full of alcohol. I just dip my finger in it, wetting that. We'll go back here to the playfield, and I just start rubbing. And for whatever reason, this stuff really balls up. And it just balls up. Let me show you here. I'm trying to get it on the camera so it looks good. But you can see the stuff just balls up in little balls and little chunks, and it doesn't take much time at all. I got a little more alcohol on my finger here, so I'm going to go to work and rub this good. Now, sometimes you may need to use a little more alcohol. These inserts are the toughest. The playfield, it seems to come up really quick, and you can see how the adhesive just catches itself and just balls up like that. And what usually takes rags and blisters and stuff with that Goo Gone really is no more here. This stuff is just coming right up. And what I've seen here for at least the insert pieces is it just takes a little bit more. So I wet those really good. And so you can see I wet those pretty good. I let it sit for a second, and then I go after it. And to be real honest with you, it comes up pretty darn, look at that. It's just coming right up. And so I'm doing this with my left hand, so I'm a little uncoordinated. I'm right-handed, but as you can see, that mylar comes right up, and let me show you my finger. A lot of that adhesive actually sticks to your finger, but the flour catches it to itself. So then what you have left over You just kind of sweep up little piles of this and let it go. And that's really it. I just wanted to show you guys. I'd seen a couple posts on it, and someone was mentioning it to us, and it was the Germans. Those Germans, they can do this. They're pretty smart folks. So anyway, that's my submission, and I'll let you go. Have a great night, and hopefully this helps you work with your pinball.